Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Year of the Dead. Now, this episode we're going to be reviewing Day of the Dead, which came out in 1985, and it kind of was the end of Romero's Dead series, his first trilogy, at least for a while. Oh, hello, doggy. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I've seen this one quite a bit.
Not as much as the other one, so.
Yeah,
not as much as Night and Dawn.
Yeah, those I've seen the most. This is probably the third most. And, like I said, the last two were really good. This is the end of that trilogy, so it's good. You could tell the budget, I don't know if it was necessary, it was lower, I would assume.
It might have been lower than Dawn, or it could have been very similar, but it looks like they wanted to do more.
If you notice that Romero did a lot of stuff in a confined space for zombie movies, like the mall, and then a bunker for Day of the Dead. So that might have been his way.
That might have been a big, I didn't think about that way.
Or the house. Like, you only have to shoot the house and a little bit around the house. And
yeah, actually, now that you mention it, we'll talk more when we get to our next movie, but the next one's Land of the Dead. And that's like the first time it actually feels like it's more
what was
like...
that, 2003 or 5 or 3?
Oh, yeah, it's
definitely
early to mid-2000s.
I think it's like 2003. And, I mean, we'll obviously talk about that. I don't know off the top of my head. That one I've seen... I feel like I've seen Night of the Living Dead the most, then Dawn of the Dead, but that might even be... Yeah. They're so close, it might be flip-flop. Then it's Day of the Dead, and then probably Land, and then Diary. I think I've seen Diary. I think I've seen Diary twice.
Diary we've definitely seen at least twice, but that might have been it.
Survival, and I mean, we'll talk about those when we get to those, but I think the more ambitious comes after the original trilogy. Yeah. And then with that, he kind of... It took him a while, like, what was this, 85, and so I think Land... Don't quote me. Land was like 2003. It's
yes,
like
he definitely didn't do anything in the
almost
90s.
2 decades.
Zombie related. He did do other movies, which I think he was planning on being done with Day of the Dead. I think this was the end of what he wanted to be like his zombie magnum opus.
It was a good movie. I mean, it is a good movie. Mm-hmm. It's if you like zombies, I would definitely watch it.
I think it's the most forgotten of the original 3, though. Yeah. Because Night of the Living Dead is like that first one. Dawn of the Dead is the most famous.
I think Dawn of the Dead's most famous, and that's partially because of the remake being such a big... The remake
does keep it in the public consciousness.
Just like because the first of any of these zombie movies I ever saw was the remake of Dawn of the Dead. So that's always been interesting. Mm-hmm. So I saw that remake before I was younger. I don't remember exactly.
Probably too young. Hi, Emmy.
Oh yeah, no, I was definitely probably too young, but that's why that Dawn of the Dead's all. I knew of Dawn of the Dead before I knew of Night of the Living Dead, and from that I didn't even know what Day of the Dead until I got into the Romero zombie movies.
It's not something we knew of growing up until that.
Because it's definitely in the public consciousness out of the 3 the least. Mm-hmm. But the concept was interesting. A bunker, more down the line of the. Epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it.
I looked it up. It is 7 years after Dawn of the Dead. So Dawn of the Dead was like pretty much right when the outbreak was happening.
Right when the outbreak got kind of untenable.
So it went from... it was pretty much where the tipping point between humans probably then became the minority and zombies became the norm.
It's definitely got more of that, what is it called? The claustrophobic. And I think, as I said, I think that's partially because of his... budget restraints, and it was a clever way to work around it. Is like they're inside a bunker that's like in a mine. I don't even know if it's technically a bunker. Yeah, I think it's a mine that the military and the science kind of
looked like there was like almost like a missile-like silo.
Yeah, it looked like a missile silo they were climbing up.
But
a helicopter plays a role in it again,
as you would guess. So it starts out with these people in the helicopter like going into a city in like Miami or something like that near Florida, and just like trying to see if there's any survivors. And then it's just like it was in a city landscape that's ruined. You just see all these zombies pouring out of the buildings trying to get to them, and it was just kind of like to just hammer home civilization is dead at this point. There's very few humans left, and I think it gave you like a taste of what this movie could have been, was like this large scale zombie apocalypse, and then it gets you to the bunker and you stay in the bunker until like the final shot of the movie.
Yeah, they're out of the bunker.
Which I think is a like budget related thing. I think he wanted it to be more grandiose, but like it is what it is. When they get to the bunker, it's both like a civilian and
like science group that a military unit was like told to, I guess, protect.
Yeah, and then like that probably started at the beginning of the outbreak. 7 years go by. And it's like I don't even think they really even know what they're supposed to be doing anymore. They've lost contact with everyone. Some of their military guys keep dying. And there's not really progress being made for like a cure that they were hoping they would find.
And it seems like the scientist, or at least the head scientist, was kind of looking more of how do we take the zombies of the Walking Dead that we have and turn them into back into people.
Yeah. How do they coexist at this point?
And
instead of curing.
And that's where they introduce Bud, which is...
Bub is the best. He is a... so they constantly have like a flow of zombies. They just keep experimenting on trying different things. And then they find this one zombie that like slowly he understands stuff. They give him a razor and he can put it to his face. He doesn't immediately try to eat people when they enter the room.
They take the bullets out of a gun, put it on there. He picks it up, goes like this to shoot it, and then so he's obviously remembering stuff, and he's probably the quintessential him. And there's only a few other zombies.
Yeah, he might be the most famous zombie, because we were trying to think of all the other famous zombies in movies, and though there's some that might be more iconic, I don't think they get as much screen time as Bub does. Yeah. So we'll get to Return of the Living Dead, but Tarman, very famous.
Guy. I love Tarman.
He's not in it a lot.
Brains.
And there's a lot of other famous looking zombies that aren't in it a lot, but Bub actually plays an important piece, and he's actually probably my favorite part.
And it kind of hints at when he does Land of the Dead. There's another zombie that's more human-like.
His name's Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
We'll get to Big Daddy. Not Adam Sandler.
So it kind of hints at what he's doing next is they're evolving or getting. Some of them are retaining some of their humanity.
It really does, and we'll talk more with Land of the Dead, but it really does feel like that movie was a natural extension from what Day of the Dead was. Yeah. But yeah, plot-wise, though, there isn't much happening.
No.
It's
actually a very slow plot.
Yeah, it feels like actually really nothing happens. Obviously people are slowly, I don't want to say going insane, but the stress and anxiety of the situation getting to them. And the inciting incident is that when they're trying to harvest these zombies from the mine shaft, one breaks loose and kills one, someone gets shot, and then it just slowly escalates with more people dying. So it's not like even someone calls the inciting incident. It just kind of happens
because
whether or not any of the other things was happening in the movie, it just happens.
Yeah.
And I think it more so focuses on the characters and how they're interacting with each other, because there's a 10-15 minute scene where the leader of the military guys is Captain Rhodes, and he's going I don't want to say necessarily on a power trip, but because I think he's just also I'm done with this situation.
Yeah.
There is no more hope. I don't know why we're even bother doing this.
Yeah, I think that.
But yeah, I would say plot isn't what's important with this movie. It's the gore.
Yeah. Oh, the gore was really good.
Probably the best so far of the three that we've reviewed.
Yeah, there's a few good ripping people. They rip people apart a few times.
A lot, especially near the end.
Yeah.
It's just getting torn apart.
You love just how zombies just always are able to just push their hands into people in horror movies. It seems like. So, but the gore is very good.
I never really thought about that, but yeah, it is so easy to tear people apart. Apparently, have you ever thought of? Could you actually just rip someone's skin off like that?
I would not even that. Just pushing my hand into their chest cavity. Or their stomach, which would be either in the chest cavity. It's just the amount of force. I just don't know if... That's always been a weird, thought process.
I didn't think about that.
I've thought of that every time I see it. Because Walking Dead's the same way. Watch Walking Dead. They'll be just, putting their hands inside a person. It's that's hard to do. But
I've never tried it, but I think it is a little difficult.
I mean, I could, punch myself as hard as I can.
I don't think into my stomach.
That's always perpetually for 15, 20 years now or whatever since I've been watching zombie movies. Have always been that's kind
very common.
That's kind of a weird thing, but they do it in all of it, and this one's no exception. it continues this thing that I find funny that they started in Dawn of the Dead. The zombies, you'll see just like a group of zombies, and like one of them will just be wearing a weird type of...
The weirdest kind of outfit.
Like, one's wearing, like, there'll be a group, and there's just like Chef Boyardee in there with his like hat, and then there's like another one, there's a guy like in a full like graduation costume.
And there's like football players and party clowns.
Dawn of the Dead, there was a Hare Krishna with the tambourine, and it's like... I find it funny that they just put these like random things in there because it's kind of entertaining. Like one zombie's walking with a stogie in his mouth. I'm like,
there was a ballerina dancer that was walking on the tiptoes.
Like it's just these little things that are hilarious.
It's things you would expect to see in a comedy movie, but it's not it's taken completely seriously.
I will say when the is he Captain Rhodes?
Captain Rhodes,
yeah, because he had the double. Captain Rhodes. There's like a point where he runs inside because the zombies are getting in. He gets on like a little golf cart and just starts like dee 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 dee, and it's just like that's kind of comedic. And he leaves.
It's not going fast at all.
He leaves his men behind, and they come running out there, and it's just like, guys, you could
just sprint and catch up.
You could quickly run and jump on it, like, and they act like it's the end of the. They can't follow, and it's just like kind of comedic because he's like dee 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 dee, and then he like hits a zombie. It's like. And it just seems like a Shaun of the Dead like thing.
Honestly,
but it wasn't.
You can kind of think it's the same thing with Dawn of the Dead. We talked about like when they're like putting pies in a zombie face, or when a guy sticks his arm into the blood pressure machine. It's like
how outrageous.
There's some things that had to be comedy, but was like this scene was like the golf cart. I don't think it was. That was just. They wanted him to get away faster and the other guys would be mad about it. And they picked the slowest moving golf cart there is.
It, like, for some reason he jumped on it and I got that whole thing from Austin Powers.
That's what I was thinking
too. Like, I just for some reason thought of that because of how slow it's moving.
But yeah, and there was like a good amount of kills, but there's a lot of people that are just getting gunned down by the other military, which, again, one of the overarching themes in Romero is that the humans are sometimes the harder people to coexist with than the zombies. But if I had to pick a favorite kill, it's like, when you get to the end of the movie, it really is like all of like the evil army men getting like just ripped apart with hands stuck into chest cavities. So I don't know if I can pick a favorite one. I want to say probably when Captain Rhodes at the very last one.
That might have been mine, and it wasn't necessarily the most spectacular kill or the goriest at all. It was just the fact that like Bud is like shooting him.
Yeah,
and then he like shoots him into the group of zombies, and the zombies come in like really slow like about it, like doing this as they're waiting for him, and Bud's goes like this and salutes them, and it's just
Bud doesn't like Captain Rhodes because
they're just gonna go like really slow instead of like a zombie, and all the rest of the time they'll be like rah, like that. They're just like and it was funny.
I really liked it too because like he gets pulled apart. And like his legs get dragged away, and
you almost said he was like pulled pork.
Pulled pork. It was like pulled pork, guys. And he's just yelling like choke on it as he's like getting killed. Like that's
what I'm gonna call it when people get ripped apart by zombies. That's a pulled pork.
But yeah, overall, I like it a lot. I don't think it's not my favorite Romero zombie movie. It's not even the favorite of the trilogy. But the gore, I think, is the best so far.
It's the best. Probably the best gore. It definitely. It doesn't end on a low note. The trilogy's, I would say, a solid trilogy to watch.
Yeah, typically the third movie in trilogies kind of whiff it.
The second trilogy.
We'll get to that.
Unless I watch some of those movies and I'm like, wow, my opinion was.
Which we could. Gee. We will see because we haven't seen a lot of those in a while. But yeah, we've probably seen Day of the Dead.
It's been over 10 years since I saw Land.
I did see it a couple years ago.
It's probably been like 7, 8 years at least since I've seen Land, so I'm looking forward to that because that was one I really liked before, and I want to see how it holds up now.
And that's one we'll review next time. So yeah, overall, very gory movie, very solid continuation from Dawn of the Dead, and I definitely recommend it.
I'd recommend it.
If you want to go for some like an old classic zombie movie.
It's got all the kind of tropes along with all the rest of them in this series, but done the tropes of, the zombies are slow and they kind of are quicker when they need to be. Or, they're loud, but when they need to sneak up on you, they're not loud. And it's just like the tropes that you see from everything from this movie to The Walking Dead are there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun.
Oh, and I remember I even said because Tom Savini came back and did the effects, but one of the actors in this was Greg Nicotero, who went on to do the effects for The Walking Dead, along with other big-time horror movies. But he... Danny Phantom? And he... I'm pretty sure he was also... he got the role because he was helping with effects with Day of the Dead with Savini. But yeah, it's just random connections. Walking Dead wouldn't be where it would be without
when they're not
Romero.
using CGI, and they don't always use CGI. Their effects, I will say, The Walking Dead up to what I see.
The zombie makeup in general.
Yeah, the zombie makeup and
high class for Walking Dead.
When they kill people are pretty good. So,
so anyways, tune in next month. We'll do Land of the Dead, which is the beginning of his second zombie trilogy.
Send more paramedics.